This trip is a little bit of business development. I had a dinner last night with clients that I've worked with here. I'm actually spending some time with my spiritual teacher who's over here.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done that for a while, traveling with him a little bit. I'm going to Switzerland to do some planning and strategic planning with another client. Going to Scotland, France, where I've done quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
So, you know, people say, what do you do? And I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
I've worked, I've got a name for leadership trainings, but I don't do leadership like how to lead other people. It's more how do I lead my life.
Yeah.
I've called it inside-out leadership, and, you know, it's consistent with all the enduring truths.
Yeah.
Follow your heart, be true to yourself, follow your bliss. You know, it's always an inner connection, and then let that direct me. It's what I've worked on personally for many years.
Yeah.
You know, like, how can I do that better? Because I call myself a recovered businessman. First 15 years of my life, I did type A entrepreneur, workaholic. And from the external point of view, it looked like I was succeeding. You know, I had the trappings of what people think is success.
Yeah.
But inside, I was getting more and more bankrupt. And fortunately, caught that at a young enough age, at 35, and somewhere found the courage to stop. I look back now. I mean, I love getting older. A lot of people would say that, but I mean, it's been a great trip, and there's something that shows up. You know, I don't consider myself old, but I'm older than I was.
Yeah.
The perspective is just easier. You know, the choices are easier. It's more of a joke to me. I mean, nothing is as serious as I used to think it was. And, you know, a lot more gratitude is showing up, and ease in the process. And I've always valued the wisdom that comes through experience, and for most people, that doesn't happen until an elderly age, or until they become an elder. Although some people are born with it and come in with that level of wisdom. I'm one of those, I will claim.
Yeah.
I've heard that all my life. That I'm wise. It didn't, you know, there was this false humility that said, not me, but, you know, if I look around and say, yeah, I have some wisdom, and my job is to share it, you know, and pass it on. I do a section in one of my seminars, a couple of seminars about life purpose.
Yeah.
And what I do there came out of my discovery of who I am and why I'm here, and it was literally, for me, a burning bush. I mean, it was the lights on voice, and as real as your voice right now.
Yeah.
And it's a voice I've come to recognize that has always 100% led me in a good direction.
Fantastic.
And you know, it originally was one of the choir of voices inside. I had to learn, you know, to separate out the ones that were opinion or personality, or, you know, all of that. Which one was the, you know, from the invisible friend inside, you know, the spirit.
Yeah.
And but anyway, that voice one day said to me, "I'm a scout." Sometimes it talks to me in third person. Sometimes it talks as me. But I know what it is. I've learned to recognize it.
Yeah.
And so that's my purpose. I go out in the world. I have experience. I look for a way, not necessarily the way, a way, and come back and deliver what I've discovered to whoever cares to, you know, to find out about it. So I've done it primarily through seminars, a lot of public speaking, a book, and another one I'm in the process of now. You know, however I can deliver the experience and the information, and whoever's interested comes along, and who isn't, they go find something else.
Tell me about the present book, Terry, because I know from talking to you and exchanging, you know, correspondence with you earlier, that this is something you're very juiced about. How it came about and where you are now. Tell us more about it.
I'm calling it The Call, and I've interviewed 72 people so far. People who are living lives of purpose and contribution and meaning. Some of them quite well known, many of them only known in their environment or their circle. But they're all people who are contributing in some way and have lived a life of giving and service, and it wasn't always that way. And I'm focusing in on when did they hear that inner call, that spirit directive, that and how did it show up for them? And,
Mhm.
you know, how did they respond, and did they respond? And what happened when they did and when they didn't, and what were the challenges and how they overcome them? And amazing stories. I haven't heard a bad one yet. You know, they're beautiful stories and aggregated. And after hearing even 3 or 4 of them, what's coming through is encouragement. I mean,
Wow,
here these
yeah.
people you'd look at, you know, like some of them, like for example, Jack Canfield,
Mhm.
who Chicken Soup for the Soul,
Yeah.
the best-selling book outside of the Bible. I mean, it's phenomenal success.
I didn't know that, really.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
One year at its peak, 7 Chicken Soup books were on the top. No, not one. 7. One in every 7 Chicken Soup books was. One in every 7 books sold was a Chicken Soup book.
Okay.
I mean, phenomenal.
Yes.
And Jack deserves it. I mean, he's a really good guy, and it's a Jack story. I mean, and we've become good friends. I mean, I've known Jack. We worked together at Insight 26,
That's
7
right,
years
yes,
ago. Yeah.
yes.
But you know, what the part of the story you don't hear is the struggle and how he overcame them. And you know,
Yeah, yeah.
we were laughing about some. You know, I slept on top of a picnic table for a year, and I would go
Literally?
in literally
Every night?
literally every
Wow.
night for a year, in a room this big with 3 other guys. You know, we're in a room 4 meters by 4 meters maybe.
Yeah.
And you know, there were times we couldn't afford a meal. I was in a band. You know, this is following our dream.
Yeah,
Back when
yeah.
I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
We would go into a restaurant and order a meal knowing we couldn't pay for it, but we were hungry. And we'd finish the meal and say, we can't pay, but we'll wash dishes or sweep the floor or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, we pulled that ruse a number of times. So Jack and I were talking about this kind of thing, and Jack said, you know, well, I went through about a 1.5 year period where I figured out how to eat on 21 cents a day. You know,
Wow. 21 cents.
21
And how
cents
long
a
ago
day.
was
Well,
this?
this was probably 25 years ago, but still, that's
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So you know, you don't hear that part of most people's story. John Gray,
Yeah.
Men Are From Mars, Women Are From
Yeah,
Venus,
yeah.
another good friend. John was homeless on the Santa Monica beach for several months, you know, and was a celibate monk for 15 years. Amazing part, you know, and how is that part of the process?
Yeah.
So, what's coming through with, you know, people. These are people who've answered the call
Mm.
and held pretty true to it.
Mm.
And it's easy to look at these people and say, yeah, I'm different, or mine hasn't shown up, or, you know, when am I going to hear it or see it? Or,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
but it isn't always a burning bush. Sometimes it's a nudge, it's a gnawing, it's a knowing, it's an
Yeah.
instinct, and it's there in everybody, just not everybody's responding. And when you hear how people did respond, it's just encouraging. It's like, oh, I could do that. I just didn't.
Fantastic.